talk about it to just regular people
Right.
who've never experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much to talk about. I mean, the smells, the taste, the feelings, the fear, all that. And, losing friends and stuff, so a lot of people is just overloaded, But like I said, I'm a service rep of the Legion, been one for almost 20 years, and I've helped hundreds of combat veterans, all branches of service, obtain their
VA designation?
yes, right, get their 100%, their compensations and pensions from the military.
Oh, wow.
The VA, I hate to say it, I'm not going to say anything.
No,
bad
there
about
you go.
the VA,
There you go.
But they are definitely understaffed.
Yeah, I know how that is. I'm in
So,
public education, so I
And
understand.
a
how
lot
that
of
is.
what they're doing is a lot of patients, military. They're contracting them out. That's like me. I live in where I live at near Mariana. If I have to need dental work, or if I need like my skin, growing up in Florida is kind of rough on your skin.
Yeah.
I go to a civilian,
Yeah.
and they treat me, and the VA pays the bills.
So can you tell me a little bit about maybe one or two of the stories? You mentioned you had 2 Purple Hearts. You want to tell me
The
about
first
those?
Purple Heart I got
Yeah.
in the Marines on my second tour. From what we were hit with 21 rounds of small arms, 51 calibers, and from what happened to me was a round came through the bottom of the aircraft, and it's going through, titanium and aluminum and all this, and then went on out, plus the bullet itself, So I just felt a little sting and but it was pieces of the aircraft and everything else went into my back and my ass, in the back of my head. But it one of those things, where the adrenaline and the excitement and what was going on. Once I realized that I had been wounded, somebody told me about it. They pointed to me, and I noticed there was blood in my pants and stuff. So we got back to the ship, and I went to sick call and got fixed up and didn't get to go home.
So the wounds were superficial? Or?
Yeah, they were just shrapnel wounds. Then
Those are still pretty bad.
it stings, but when you're in the middle of something, it's like football. Did you play football or?
Played sports.
Yeah, when you're playing sports a lot of times,
You don't notice the thing.
you get dinged or something, you fall down and that, you don't notice. Like then when you go home and you land in your bed, you go, God, man, what happened to my arm?
Yeah.
So were you still able to continue that fight, like in that moment
no,
with other
this
people?
was at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
We had so many casualties.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go whining to these corpsmen that I had a sore ass.
Yeah.
There's guys missing body parts,
Yeah.
trying to keep alive and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just let it go, and
Yeah.
then they finally did. And then when they found it, they said, "Well, you're eligible for a Purple Heart." So, yeah. And then the second one I got was in the Army, and I was in Bosnia, and I was a liaison officer to the International Police Task Force and the Bosnian Army. Not Bosnian, the Russian Army. And it was the first time since World War II that we were allies with the Russians on a certain missions. But I can tell you right now, the Russians are useless. Their morale sucks. They have lousy equipment. And they all sell stuff on what they can steal from the military on the black market and stuff. That's what I knew when this war went down because they hate Ukrainians. Don't ask me why. They talk the same language and that, but whenever they would talk about Ukrainians, always in a derogatory term. So when I went, I thought, what are they out of their mind? Well, see what's happening. They're getting their asses kicked. But the Purple Heart with me was me and my Russian counterpart. We were in a UN vehicle, soft skin, with and he was driving. And all he brought with him was his Kalashnikov pistol in his pocket. He was very casually dressed. So it was a uniform. And me, I got my my bullet bouncer, and I didn't have my rifle. I had my 9mm and my helm, my Kevlar. It's a good thing I had all that on, because there was this old truck. There were these guys. They were former East German soldiers. This is right after the Iron Curtain fell. And these guys were, there's no more East Germany. So they had to find a job. Well, they started going around, they formed a corporation, started going around the world clearing minefields, training the indigenous people, Africa, these places. Well, they were there, but the way they made their real big bucks was when they de-armed mines, they took the plastic explosive out and sold it to construction companies all over the world. They're cool guys, And anyway, there was an old truck driven by this old Bosnian guy. And it had been snowing, and the things had gotten warm up, and it started to melt. There was a big puddle. And this truck was going through the puddle. I didn't think he was going to make it. And I turned my head to say something to my partner, my Russian partner. And there was a flash, and the next thing I knew, I woke up, and I was on my hands and knees in about a foot of snow, and there was blood dripping out of and I've lost in my ear. Well, anyway, we get medevac, but we were in a Swedish zone. Swedish helicopter flew in. We got medevac to the Swedish hospital, and the nurses, just blonde, cleavage all the way up to the chin. I thought it was in heaven. I didn't want to leave the Swedish hospital. What a Eagle base, So
what had happened? What was the explosion?
Oh, I'm sorry. The truck, he had inert mines, and he was driving through that mud puddle, and one had somehow came down anti-tank mine and it blew the truck up and all the mines and stuff. It was a huge flash. I got blown out one way. My Russian buddy, he didn't get it. The blast itself hit. I caught it.
Blew
worse.
you out of the truck.
Oh my
Blew
God.
right out. It's a good thing I had my Kevlar on.
So how many
amazing.
bombs were in this truck that blew up?
I don't know. They had a load. They were just throwing them in the back of the truck.
Oh wow.
And they all went off?
Boom.
Oh yeah.
Well, one of them blew all the rest of
Detonated.
them.
Yeah,
Right.
he hits a bomb. Blows. I'm serious. I don't know, honey. When it went off, all I know is when I woke up was on my hands and knees. One time I was playing football in high school, I got knocked out, Miami Beach game. And I remember when I woke up, I was sitting on a bench and my dad was there, and I didn't even recognize him. Well, I was that knocked out.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Completely disoriented.
what's going on. Why am I bleeding? It struck me. But, oh yeah, then they flew me to Eagle Base, and then I said, "Oh wait, maybe they're gonna send me home." And then they sent me from Eagle Base to Ramstein, Ramstein, Germany.
Yeah.
I've been into Frankfurt there before, but anyway, well, they kept me there for about a week, all these tests and everything, and instead of sending me home from there, they sent me back to Bosnia, to Eagle Base, then to Camp Bedrock, and I went home with my unit.
Oh, okay.
So
Did you lose your hearing immediately from that accident?
the ear did, yeah. And they had all these tests. Well, I've never really got my hearing back, And they, the VA, I stayed in the Army Reserve when I got home, and they gave me 10% disability.
That seems a little low for losing half your hearing.
Well, they're not, you have to work on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't,
Yeah.
I mean, I could hear, but not like this ear.
Right.
So over the years, I just kind of learned it. And plus two, I had enough rank. I was trying to, I went all the way to E8, but you had to stay in that rank for 3 years.
You had to do a high three. Yeah.
And then when I didn't, my wife, I had a wife at the time, and she was bugging the hell out of me to get out. because she said, no, if you go off to war again, I won't be here when you get back. So I said, well, maybe you got a point there, you know. And because I had 20-some years, you know. So I went in and got out, and when I did, about 6 months later, 9/11 went down, and my whole unit got
Got sent out.
sent overseas.
Wow. Thanks so much.